Picture the scene. You and your companions are traveling by boat in the open ocean, when suddenly a storm appears ahead of the ship and seems to be heading your way. Finding out there's no way to avoid it, you have no choice but to go head on, straight through, and hope for the best. As you make it towards the center of the ferocious storm, the waves crashing against the side of the ship, suddenly the ship stops in place, with no anchor down and no rocks or corals that the ship could have got stuck on. Suddenly, the port side of the ship, you see a gargantuan head rise out of the water with humanoid features, bluish grey skin and a soaked through white beard, eyes that crackle with the spark of pure electrical energy. This is when you realize you've fallen right into the trap of a storm giant. Hello and welcome to Dungeon Deep Dive, where we talk about all things D&D, from monsters and their lore to news updates and tips and advice for anyone interested in Dungeons & Dragons and want to give it a try. In today's video, we're going to go over the race of monsters known as the Giants. These humanoids of pure strength and size were one of the first lot of monsters ever introduced into D&D in the 1974 Dungeons & Dragons white box set. This included the Hill Giants, the Stone Giants, the Frost Giants, the Fire Giants, and the Cloud Giants. Storm Giants made their appearance later on in the 1975 original Greyhawk supplement, where they were described as more intellectual giants that are usually found in out-of-place areas. There are more variants of the giant kin that came out in later editions, like the Cave Giants, the Ash, and the Fog Giants. Today we're going to focus on what's called the True Giants, those being the Cloud, Etin, Fire Giants, Fog Giants, Frost, Hill, Mountain, Stone, Storm Giants, and the Titans, the largest of the giant kin. The looks of a giant will vary depending on what type of giant you're talking about. If you're looking at a Frost Giant, for example, they'll have blue skin and jet white hair, and maybe have speckles of ice shards in their beards and skin, with eyes a shade of blue or yellow, and would tend to wear skins and furs of animals they've hunted. On the opposite end of the spectrum, if you look at the Fire Giants, these guys have a more broad body shape, making them kind of look like dwarves in appearance in a strange way. Their skin is dark in color, resembling the color of coal, and their hair is a fiery orange and red with eyes as red as rubies. Compared to normal humanoids, giants have superior senses. Most can see and hear twice as far as normal humanoids. Cloud, Hill, and Storm Giants have a heightened sense of smell compared to their other senses, and some have the capability to see in low and zero light. Their bone structure is way more dense compared to other humanoids, making them a lot tougher, but it comes with a price as that slows them down. Giants, or Jotunbrud in giant language, I hope I'm saying that right, are pretty intelligent creatures with their own cultures and way of life. Although their intelligence does vary depending on the type of giant, but even then, the lowest of intelligence will be human levels of intelligence. Exceptions being the Hill Giants are a little bit lower than that on the intelligence scale, but still, they're very tough creatures. Most giants tend to think of themselves as higher up and superior to other creatures, mainly because of their sheer size, so that would lead them to talk down and demoralize other humanoids and treat them as unimportant. Another reason for them thinking they are higher up on the echelon than other humanoids is because of the ordering. Now, the ordering is something that all giants adhere to, no matter the type of giant, dating all the way back to the very first giantkin to walk the planet, but none are the same. Each clan follows the ordering in their own unique way. Each clan runs their own unique combination of skills and qualities to determine what their ordering is, and believe that excelling in these skills to be the sole purpose of their lives. One thing that is the same in every clan, in every ordering, is to rise up in the ranks. A giant will have to master their skills and challenge their superiors. This has to be done in a respectful manner, and any sign of disrespect, that being mocking the superior, betrayal, disobedience, or a number of other behaviors, that will lead to a very harsh punishment. For example, the ordering for the Fire Giants mainly consists of them mastering their ability to forge weapons and armor. So they would challenge their superiors to a contest of forging, of where they would see who could create the best quality of weapon or armor. The thing with the ordering is that it is still an insult to disrespect a giant of another tribe that is at a lower status than themselves in their own clan. For example, if a superior of a Stone Giant tribe would insult a lower ranked giant of the Fire tribe, the Fire Giant would still be classed as a higher rank than the Stone Giant, because the Fire Giants as a whole are higher rank in the echelon of giant kind. The ranking of the ordering goes as follows from descending order. We have the Titans, which are at the very top. We have the Storm Giants, then the Cloud Giants, then Fog Giants, then Fire, Frost, Stone, Mountain, Hill, Ettins, and then we have the other sub-races of giant kin. that being Furbolgs, Cyclops, and Fomorians. And then at the very bottom we have the ogres. See, now the moral compass of a giant is a little more different from other humanoids. A good act, or a mat act in giant lingo, is an act that honors the giant's gods or family, displaying high acts of bravery or honor towards a good giant regardless of the consequences of their actions. A Maug act, or an evil act, is when giants perform an act of cowardice or steals from another member of the tribe, betraying the trust of the giant's family or deity, or an act that forces a giant from their home terrain. Now, when a female giant becomes pregnant, the pregnancy will last between 9 to 15 months. Depending on the type of giant and when a giant is born, they are classed as a child until they reach the age of 15, where they then become an adult. At the very start of the giant's creation, the lifespan of a giant would be classed as immortal, but as their generations go on, the lifespan slowly declined. Some giants are known to live to around 300 to 400 years old, while some storm or stone giants have been known to live over 1,000 years. Because giants live for so long, they've become very slow and sluggish with their decision making and will not be rushed for anyone. If you think of the trees in Lord of the Rings that take an eternity to make a decision.
Decided? No, we only just finished saying good morning.
But it's night time already.
Kind of like that. Moving on to the religion of giants, it differs between the type of giant and tribes. Some are known to argue with one another or even start wars between tribes over what they believe their deity actually wants from them. All giants worship the god Anam Allfather, the creator of Giantkin. The highest rank in the religious hierarchy in giant society is a high priest of Anam that resides in the Anam's grand temple and are the religious leaders of giants and their religion. If a high priest dies, all of the tribes gather together in a grand meeting and all have to decide in unison on who's the next spiritual leader will be. The high priest or priestess's responsibilities include maintaining the temple and keeping them on tip-top condition, as well as traveling to various tribes to perform rituals and make any adjustments to any religious laws that need their attention. On the first day of every year, giants would partake in a festival called the Grand Feast of the Allfather, where they would set aside all their differences and have a massive feast. An ambassador will be chosen from each tribe during these feasts to show their unity, and the high priest or priestess would honor a favored chieftain of the tribe by dining with said chieftain. Okay, so we've gone over most of the lifestyle of giants. Now let's go over the stats of them and see what they can do. We're going to go over the true giants to begin with, starting at the Cloud Giant. Sitting at an AC of 14 and 200 hit points, these guys are pretty tough. They have a challenge rating of 9 and have the keen smell ability that gives the giant advantage on perception checks that rely on smell. They also have a handful of spells at their disposal. They can at will cast Detect Magic, Fog Cloud, and Lights. 3 times a day they can cast Featherfall, Fly, Misty Step, and Telekinesis. And once a day they can cast Control Weather or Gaseous Form. Cloud Giants get a multi-attack, making 2 strikes with its Morning Star. The Morning Star has a plus 12 to hit and a reach of 10 feet and will deal 3d8 plus 8 piercing damage. It also has a ranged attack where they throw a rock with a plus 12 to hit and a range of 60 to 240 feet, and it deals 4d10 plus 8 bludgeoning damage. That is a lot of damage. The home of a Cloud Giant, as you can tell, tends to be at the top of mountains and inside or even above nearby perpetual cloud layers. Moving to the bottom of the ordering list, we have the Ogres. Sitting at an AC of 11 and hit points of 59, these creatures are not the brightest bulb in the lot and they don't really have any abilities, but they do have 2 actions. They have an attack with a Great Club that is a plus 6 to hit and a reach of 5 feet and deal 2d8 plus 4 bludgeoning, and an attack with a Javelin that is a plus 6 to hit with a range of 30 to 120 feet and deal 2d6 plus 4 piercing damage. Ogres tend to have a great fondness for dwarf, halfling, and elf flesh, hence why they often make their homes in the mountains or the hills so they're close to their food. Next we have the Ettins. These guys are pretty fun to play. I've recently used one of these in my campaign that I'm running and it was pretty fun. They have an AC of 12 and 85 hit points. These guys are a little higher up in the echelon of the giant hierarchy compared to the ogre. They have an ability called Two Heads, where the Etin has advantage on perception checks and on saving throws against being blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, stunned, and knocked unconscious. They also have an ability called Wakeful that states when one of the Etin's heads is asleep, the other head is awake. These guys are great for a role-playing point of view, purely for the chance to have the heads hate each other but have no way of escaping, so they just argue constantly. It has a multi-attack where it makes 2 attacks with one of its morning stars and its battle axe. The battle axe has a +7 to hit and deals a 2d8 +5 slashing damage, and the Morningstar has a +7 to hit and deals 2d8 +5 piercing damage. Similar to the ogre, Etins tend to make their homes in the hills of the land but prefer the colder atmosphere of the hills. Next on the long list of giants, we have the hill giants with an AC of 13 and a max hit points of 105. They don't have any real unique abilities but have brute strength to replace the lack of magic. It has a challenge rate of 5 and a multi-attack that it can make with its great club that has a +8 to hit and a 10-foot reach and deals 3d8 +5 bludgeoning damage. It can also throw rocks the size of boulders that have a +8 to hit and a range of 60 to 240 feet and deals 3d10 +5 bludgeoning damage. Coming from the stones of the earth, we have the stone giants. With AC of 17 and hit points of 126, these lively figures can be quite nasty. They have a challenge rating of 7 and an ability called stone camouflage, where the giant has advantage on stealth checks made to hide in a rocky terrain. They can make 2 attacks with its great club with a +9 to hit and a 15-foot reach and deals 3d8 +6 bludgeoning damage. Unlike the previous types of giants we've mentioned, they can throw boulders with a +9 to hit with range of 60 to 240 feet, and this one deals 4d10 +6 bludgeoning damage. And if a target is a creature, it must succeed on a DC 17 strength save or be knocked prone. Stone giants also have a reaction that says if a rock or similar object is hurled at the giant, say for example if someone hurls the rock that they've thrown back at them, the giant must make a DC 10 dexterity saving throw, and on a success it will catch the missile and take no bludgeoning damage from it. Stone giants are usually found in the temperate mountain ranges and caves and caverns of the land, but they are also known to make their homes in the Underdark if it's needed. Moving on to their frozen kin, the frost giants have an AC of 15 with patchwork armor and hit points of 138. They have a challenge rating of 8 and are obviously immune to cold damage. They can make a multi-attack with their great axes that have a +9 to hit and a 10-foot reach and deal 3d12 +6 slashing damage. And these guys again have a ranged rock attack with a +9 and a range of 60 to 240 feet and deal 4d10 +6 bludgeoning. For their homes, frost giants, as you can probably tell, are fond of the cold and snowy landscapes. The longer the winter, the better the area to make its home. Moving on to the opposite end of the spectrum, to the frost giant, we have the fire giant. Sitting at an AC of 18 with plate armor and 162 hit points, these behemoths are just a sack of hit points and AC. They have a challenge rating of 9 and are immune to fire damage. They can make 2 attacks with the monster of a greatsword they're carrying around with a +11 to hit and a 5-foot reach and deal 66 +7 slashing damage. And they can throw a rock with another +11 to hit and they deal 4d10 +7 bludgeoning. These militaristic tribes tend to make their homes in warm, hot environments like volcanoes, anywhere that has lava flows or rocky mountains, and some are known to be deep in the Underdark where lava flows. Moving near to the top of the giant hierarchy, we're on to the storm giant. With an AC of 16 with their scale mail and 230 hit points, these are no easy fight. They have a challenge rating of 13 and are resistant to cold damage and immune to lightning and thunder damage. They have the ability to breathe both air and water and can make 2 attacks with their greatswords. They have a +14 to hit with a 10-foot reach and deal 66 +9 slashing damage. They can also cast a lightning strike where the giant hurls a magical lightning bolt at the point it can see within 500 feet of it. Each creature within 10 foot of that point must make a DC 17 dex save or take 12d8 lightning damage on a failed save or half as much on a success. And at the start of each round they must roll a d6 and roll a 5 or a 6 for this ability to recharge. As well as the lightning strike, storm giants can cast a small amount of spells. With a spell DC of 17, at will they can cast detect magic, levitate and light, and then once a day they have the ability to cast control weather and water breathing. Storm giants are known to live in isolation, either far above the surface of the world in the clouds or far far below the ocean, and so far away actually that they tend to be unreachable by most creatures. And last up, at the very top of the giant food chain, we have the Titans. Sitting at an AC of 16 with their natural armor, they have a HP of 615. These gargantuan behemoths are no easy task. They are resistant to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical attacks because of their immense body density. They are immune to being charmed, exhausted, poisoned, and stunned. And they have a challenge rating of 30. This is on the same level as a Tarask. Titans are amorphous, so they can breathe in air and water, and they have a magic resistance, so that gives them advantage on saving throws against spells and other magical effects. They have a multi-attack where they can use an ability called reality altering words, and then they can make 2 greatsword attacks or 3 words of pain attacks. The greatsword is a +12 to hit and a 10-foot reach and deals 8d6 plus 8 slashing damage, and their word of pain attack is a ranged spell attack with a +9 to hit and a range of 120 feet, and it deals 4d8 plus 5 force damage, and the target must succeed on a DC 17 con save or have disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, and saving throws until the end of its next turn, as pain courses through their body. That is a terrifying ability. If the Titan chooses to, it can use their reality altering words action, where the Titan speaks a phrase that temporarily reshapes reality around it, warping the terrain, displacing creatures, and disrupting magic. Each creature within 30 feet of the Titan must succeed on a DC 17 dex save or be pulled or pushed up to 25 feet towards or away from the Titan. This is purely the Titan's choice, and forced prone. Instead of pushing or pulling a creature that failed the saving throw, the Titan can end one magical effect of its choice of 4th level or lower on that creature. The area then becomes difficult terrain until the start of the Titan's next turn. Moving through this difficult terrain doesn't cost the Titan extra movement, but it costs everything else. They also get a stunning word action where on a recharge of a d6 roll of a 5 or 6, Titans speak a brief echoing word of power at up to 3 creatures it can see within 60 feet of it. Each creature must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw. On a failure, a creature takes 10d8 force damage and is stunned for 1 minute. That's 10 rounds. On a success, a creature takes half damage and isn't stunned. The creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns, ending the effect on itself on a success. Giants, I feel, are a great type of monster that are good to throw into your game in almost any scenario. Say if you're traveling over the ocean, you can have a stone giant harrowing them, or your group could be traveling the Underdark and you come across a tribe of stone giants that are carving out the stones of the Underdark. Or you could be traveling through a blistering snowstorm tundra when suddenly a giant blue hand reaches out of the snow grabbing you, falling into a trap of frost giants. There are a few more variants of giants out there, so I may give them their own videos in the future, so let me know if you guys want to see something like that. But that is going to be it for our video on giants. Thank you all for watching. I hope you found this video helpful, and if there's anything else I've missed, I would love to hear about it in the comments below. I know this video is probably going to be a little bit longer than the normal ones, so I appreciate you guys sticking around. I will leave links to all the websites I've used for my research on this topic so you guys can read through them yourselves. What monsters would you guys like me to cover? Let me know in the comments below and I will add your comment at the end of that video. You can find links to all my socials to keep up to date with videos down in the description, and I've made new socials specifically for this channel, so if you guys want to go follow them, I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.